check out the latest highlights from the Nourishing You podcast. And I also think it's really interesting that, I think it's fair to say that most people are probably eating too often and eating too much. But I think that there's a subset of people, especially in the health sphere, that might take fasting to an extreme, so that if a little bit of fasting is good, then a lot must be better. So that you said this is also helpful to tell people when they should eat.
Yeah. I mean, Paul Burgess, you mentioned, said it's not data-driven fasting, it's data-driven eating. And I just sort of used fasting to get all those people who are fasting for weeks on end to try and get this magic autophagy that they believe happens after this X amount of period of not eating. But really, we know very little about autophagy in humans because nobody's dissecting humans after 2, 8, 16, 24 hours. They're doing it in mice, and a mouse day is like 40 human days, and nobody's fasting for 40 days on a regular basis. So the knowledge about this magic autophagy that people think they're achieving, there's no way of knowing whether it's really happening. But what you need to do is, we know that lower healthy blood sugars are really beneficial. A better waist to height ratio is really important. Body fat percentage, all those sort of things are the big markers that you can manage to help you dial in your metabolic health to the point that everything else works itself out. And very quickly you learn that, if I ate, the worst thing you could eat is really the fat and carb combination together, the pizza or the pasta carbonara or the donut, and that leaves your blood sugar elevated quite a lot for a very long time. And by reflecting on your blood sugars, you quickly learn that, hey, I want to eat again sooner. What achieves that is nutrient dense, high protein percentage, higher fiber foods that make you feel full, and you can go for longer, but your blood sugar's back down to healthy levels really quickly. So it's a really good way of self-reflecting on how do these foods work for my metabolism, and it cuts through all the dogma and the belief about this food is better than that food and there's a magic food, and if I don't eat that but I do eat that, and all the extremes in nutrition that just annoy me to death. And I just said, test your blood sugar, work it out, and reflect on the data, and people go, oh yeah, I understand it now.
If you enjoyed this short episode, check out our full library on our NAMP YouTube channel, where you can catch up or learn more. Keep in mind that the information on the NAMP podcast is for educational purposes only and should not be considered medical or legal advice. The NAMP is not liable or responsible for any harm, damage, or illness arising from the use of the information contained herein. By listening to the information on this podcast, you agree to defend, indemnify, and hold harmless the NAMP and all agents. Copyright NAMP, all rights reserved.